Hi there, it's Donovan, and welcome back to episode 24 of The Special Hour. As usual, I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. Dean.
What is up, everyone? My name is Mr. Dean. Well, you just said that, but just in case you forgot what Donovan just said, I'm Mr. Dean, and I'm here with my co-host, DonovanDud. What's up, Donovan?
Hi there, it's Donovan, and it's a great being here. We're always like, oh my gosh, we're in the next episode 24. That's crazy. Anyways, I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. Dean. Say hello.
I already did say hello, but what's up, everyone? So fun fact, we don't have our cameras on, but I am shirtless right now. Just to give imagery for the viewers at home. I feel like I deserve that voice crack.
All right, oral loss.
No, it's because it's really hot in my room right now, so I don't want to be sweaty by the end of the recording.
And over here in Chicago, my car was absolutely buried in snow, and I had to brush that off really quick because tomorrow I have to attend a final, and if I show up late because of a buried car, that'd be a little sad and embarrassing.
Wait, so what's snow? I've never. No, what's that?
There's some people in my university have actually never experienced snow, so that's not the craziest question I've ever heard. I don't know if you're joking, if you're not.
well, obviously I know what snow is, but down here it does not snow very often.
I know it doesn't snow. That's probably why you're like, oh, it's so hot and sweaty, and then over here it's like I'm freezing.
It snowed this past February, and we literally it was a big event on campus. We were all making snowmen and having snowball fights. It was a huge
2
deal.
inches of snow.
Yes, it was. Yeah, and what's funny is I worked at a bakery during this time, and my manager called off work because of the snow, and we had a snowman making contest, and the winner got $50. With all my coworkers, it was pretty cool.
That's interesting. I assume was it a lot of snow? Because
probably not by your definition.
Because I'm sure. closing businesses for 2 inches, we have to. Back in my day, we had to climb through the mountains of Tibet to get to school. The blizzard was all in our face. It was.
Well, Donovan, the thing is down here in Texas, people don't know how to drive in the snow. So you kind of have to close stuff down because no one's on the road. So
fair. What have you been doing this week other than snow or the lack of snow?
Yeah, it has definitely not been snowing the past week. I feel like this past week has been relatively tame. I've all wrapped up with school. I turned in my final essay for cultural psychology. That was fun. I'm not even being sarcastic. I actually enjoy psychology, so that I actually had a good time writing that. And then alongside that, I celebrated a friend's birthday. We got a hot pot. Nice. That was fun. Shout out, he might be listening. Shout out Peter if you're listening. Happy birthday. But yeah, other than that, that's about it. What have you been up to, Donovan?
I got a physics test tomorrow. Absolutely gonna bomb that.
Oh well,
making the bloodline proud, Other than that, I got one more final that is a group project. Luckily, my partner better pick up the slack, or I might have to do all the work. What else? My mind has been enslaved by this one game that we will be talking about later. And pretty wholesome, pretty awesome week. Before this, I was just doing physics notes, so I've been maximizing my time.
The past week was mainly just final or your one test that you.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Well, did you actually bomb it, or are you just being?
Oh, so the physics test is tomorrow. I forgot to mention I also had to finish a paper. Yesterday, I did finish it with an hour to spare. It was in total 3,200 words of you making basically a tour of what I chose was the Pyramids of Giza complex. So, yep, that was my yesterday.
What's really funny is the other day I was actually getting dinner with a friend, and he was asking about the podcast because I bring it up sometimes, and I was telling him oh yeah, my co-host is also in college, and he was like, oh, what's he studying? And I was like, architecture, and he was like, how the fuck does he have time to do a podcast? And I was like, I don't know.
See, a lot of architect students, they wonder how I have so much time. I'm not the best at time management, but my track record of all-nighters is 0. And compared to some other people, it sometimes can range in the double digits, which is a little bit head-scratching and concerning.
The thing with all-nighters, though, is, like, at least especially before you're taking an exam, pulling an all-nighter is the worst thing you can do because you retain the things that you learn when you're asleep. Like, you need sleep in order to, perform well. Not just on tests, but
I don't know how they're doing it. But
anyway, so...
They're zombies.
So this is a gaming podcast. I have to say this every single week because we always go a whole duration of the episode without even bringing up games at all. So Donovan, is there anything that you've been playing this past week other than the game that we're going to talk about later?
Honestly, nope. So I'll leave the floor to you.
Okay, yay. So just like last week, it's been a factory at MrDean Laboratories, Donovan. Like, so much has been recorded. I've still mainly been doing Wii stuff. So I forgot which game I left off on last week. I know that the past week or so, I have gone through Kirby's Epic Yarn. I got footage again for that game. Peak. My opinion has not changed at all. I am still a stark defender of Kirby's Epic Yarn. I had a blast. Okay.
Yeah.
Donovan, it's so fun. It's so fun. Like, even the bosses are the best part because in order to unlock the extra levels, you have to finish the boss fight with enough beads.
Here, New Year's resolution, I will play Kirby's Extra Epic Yarn.
No, play the one on the Wii. Not Kirby's Extra Epic Yarn. Play the original. Or like, I was going to say emulated, but we can't say that live on air. I'll text you that after. So that would, anyway.
Hypothetically.
Yeah, allegedly. But anyway, alongside Kirby's Epic Yarn, I just finished recording Mario Sports Mix, which is very random. It's a game I've not played since I was probably like 12. It's been like a decade.
That one's made by Square Enix, right?
Yes, which is one of the key notes about the game because like 6 of the characters are Square, like some of them are Final Fantasy. You got like Dragon Quest representation, and it's really weird, but like I don't really mind it too much, especially compared to like with the old Mario Golf game that was made by Camelot. You had like random Camelot characters. At least this time around, at least the characters are like, you've seen them before, I guess, but it still is very weird seeing them in a Mario sports game. The main problem with Mario Sports Mix is that there's 4 sports that are all not really fleshed out, which makes it so none of them are a particularly great experience. The only one, and I'm going to talk about this on my own channel, so I won't go too in depth because we have a lot to talk about this episode, but the only one out of the 4 sports I really think is like well designed to an extent is dodgeball, and that's only because it doesn't drag on because you're not confined to the time limit for each half. Like with dodgeball, each set ends once all the players from one team are knocked out, whereas like say basketball or hockey, you have to wait for the timer to go out, even if you're having to go through an opponent that's probably very easy. Because in order to unlock the hard mode of each sport, you have to play through all 3 cups and beat them, and it takes forever. I have a lot of nitpicks of Mario Sports Mix. One thing that's really weird about that game is that the soundtrack is like fire. Donovan, have you ever listened? No, like I'm like not even joking, dude. Mario Sports Mix actually has a really good soundtrack. It has no reason to be good at all. But
you mentioned dodgeball. I didn't know dodgeball was in the game. I'm just imagining. I don't know how fleshed out this would be, but what if Next Level Games? They made Mario Strikers. What if they made Mario Dodgeball? That'd be kind of fire.
No, it would, because dodgeball has potential. With Mario Sports Mix, it is a very random sport for them to include, but it's funny that, in my opinion, that's the best one. And while I wouldn't say it's fleshed out in Mario Sports Mix, if they made a full Mario Dodgeball game and like gave it the same love and care as like, some of the best Mario sports games I've had in the past, I could get behind that. Like, I mean, I still had fun. It's like, I don't dislike Mario Sports Mix. I just think it's one of the games of all time. You know what I mean? Like, it just exists. It's whatever. And then currently I'm playing through Mario Super Sluggers, another Mario sports game. So I'll wait to touch on that until next week. I don't want to go too in depth. Plus I've already talked about it on my channel too, and my thoughts haven't really changed since that video. Donovan, do you want to get into some of the fun stuff we have planned today?
Yeah, so first up, we got a brand new Mario Kart World update. Now, most of these updates basically mean absolutely nothing, but it seems that this update has added a couple of features. One of them, it was a little head-scratching why this wasn't in the original game, but they finally added custom items into Mario Kart World.
Yeah, I have no idea why that wasn't in the
original. This was a feature that came late, like really late for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. So I'm glad to have gotten it much sooner here, but why was it not in the original game? And also you can change the music volume from normal to, I believe, loud.
Yeah, it's very Nintendo.
There's no slider.
It's very Nintendo.
And you can actually see the name of the track when music is playing. That's very nice. Where is the jukebox feature? Where is it? Where is it on Nintendo Music? Let's not blow a brain cell. No, not a brain cell.
What is bro saying?
What am I saying? Anyways, there was another addition, which were changes to some of the intermissions.
I think it was 10 of them. I think
10 of them.
Or 8. It was either 8 or 10.
I haven't actually played Mario Kart World in a good long while because my time has been taken up by Kirby Air Riders. So I actually haven't played this new update. I don't know what's different about these new intermissions. I think I've only seen one of them online.
It's
which
mainly
has some vines.
So the one you're thinking of, I think it's from like Koopa Troopa Beach to one of the tracks that's on the south end, like right above all the water. Basically, they kind of took some of those intermissions that were just straight lines and gave more interaction like during the straight. So it's not like they added a ton of new routes, to my understanding. Because like you, I haven't really played the update. I've mainly watched some videos about it. I have more to say about the custom items, but to my understanding, the intermissions it's a good change because now it's not literally just holding A as much. But like I said, I haven't really played it. I haven't played Mario Kart World in a while, actually. I've mainly been playing Kirby Air Riders whenever it comes to the Switch too. And then as for the custom items, there are a few really good aspects of having it. For one thing, you can make it so only the Kamek item will appear, which makes unlocking enemy characters way easier, because that was one of the main critiques of Mario Kart World is how obnoxious that process was. But thankfully now, if you want to unlock it, you don't have to, stress about like playing a random versus match and then having to like spam item boxes just to get a Kamek. Like, you don't have to do that anymore. And it also makes practicing shortcuts easier. I remember I was watching Shortcat's video and he mentioned how you're able to make it only feather, so that way you can practice feather shortcuts specifically. That's a cool feature. So there definitely are some neat applications of custom items. I mean, overall, it's a solid update. I don't think that it's like necessarily the savior of the game necessarily. I mean, there's a lot of other stuff Nintendo would need to do, but for what it is, I can see it as a net positive for sure.
Yeah, they just keep adding these small incremental features for some reason. Well, why not just one giant big update? So it just begs the question, where did the $80 come from? But I have heard on the topic of Mario Kart World that the Mario Kart World bundle for the Nintendo Switch 2, that used to be only limited time, but I think they removed that disclaimer, and I think it's probably a permanent option. So if anyone wants to buy a Switch 2 and Mario Kart World, buy Mario Kart World for $50 via the bundle, please.
Oh, dude, I could not recommend Mario Kart World for $80, like at all. That's just not an $80 game. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I think the idea of Nintendo, what do you call it? Giving, like fixing the online, quote unquote, at least in terms of not forcing intermissions, is wishful thinking. I don't see it happening. So I in my opinion, I've stopped worrying about that happening. There's still other things Nintendo could do with Mario Kart World to make the game better. Not even just adding new tracks, but like you said, adding a jukebox, adding more functionality online. Because another good thing about this update is you're able to play a private lobby with friends, which is good. Once again, I don't know why the fuck that wasn't already a feature, but
wait, was that Was that really not I feel like that was a feature, creating a private room.
Let me do my update log research. Donovan, talk really quick.
We here are very professional at
I swear that
hour.
I swear that was.
See, Mario Kart World's online. It's still very problematic that they just will not change it back to how it originally was. They're very stubborn on that. But they're just making these incremental improvements to try and get it back to where it was. But it's like, why not just flip the switch again, just undo, Command Z, and go all the way back to what we had in the beginning. Though I do like the incremental changes that they are making with the custom items and some revamped intermissions. I've already expressed my opinions on intermissions enough. I think some of the intermissions are actually pretty good. Some of them are literally just a straight fucking line. I think you said something about Koopa Troopa Beach, and I believe that the one it connects to is DK Spaceport. That one is really just a straight line, and that's where I'm like, okay, I cannot defend this, man. I'm trying hard for it, but like, this is terrible.
So I'm looking at the update log right now. I think what I was thinking of is it says made it so you can join in with friends who are playing Knockout Tour from friends and 2-player and online play as well. I think that's what I was referencing. So maybe that's just Knockout Tour. Which I mean, once again, like, why was like can Nintendo learn how to do online? Like, please.
See, Kirby Air Riders learned some lessons from their failures from Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and I think the online system in Kirby Air Riders is pretty robust. Though that is developed by Sora. This is Nintendo, and they kind of. They're still floundering with online. I don't understand.
2025, but
yeah, 2025. I mean,
about to be
3's online is actually pretty good, but Mario Kart Online is still a little finicky for some reason. I don't know if they can add like a bunch of game-changing, system-changing features to their online, but I think the best that they can do is just fix up their little issue of options.
Speaking of new Nintendo games, seamless transition. Donovan, tell us about Metroid, because I haven't played it, but I'm interested in hearing what you think.
Okay, so Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, at the time of recording, it hasn't even been a week since the game released. I am halfway through the game, I believe. Now, I will say this game is flawed. There's a couple of glaring flaws that I'd like to cover, but this is just one of the most fun, most immersive gaming experiences that I've ever had in recent memory, at least. When I turned on the game for the first time, seeing that title screen, hearing the angelic music, I don't know, it's not even the craziest title screen, but like I felt something. It brought me so much joy. My jaw was agape the entire time. Like, is this real? 18 years for some people. My eyes were a little bit watery. I'm like, this is really happening. I'm gonna play Metroid Prime 4. Let's start with some of the controls. The controls, I think, are really, really great. I've been playing mostly, like 90% of my playthrough has been with mouse controls. Now, I have tiny hands. I'm in the minority, but I think using the Joy-Con 2 as a mouse works really well for my hands. If you have giant hands, these are probably the worst input device. This is probably the worst input device of all time. But for me, this works tremendously well. I think it works better than using standard motion controls with the Joy-Con, basically emulating the Wii Remote. It's not the same as the Wii Remote because it doesn't have a sensor bar, so you'll occasionally, the sensor or your reticle will drift away and you have to recalibrate. With a mouse, that's less of a problem, but it's just much more solid. But yeah, controls are really great, and I love that they didn't take out some of the motion controls from Corruption. Lots of people have problems with the motion controls in Corruption. I think some of them are really cool, and I was afraid that they would remove them after 18 years of backlash. I was afraid they would remove some actions like the spring ball or the grapple lasso in terms of their motion control input, but no, they didn't, and they feel much better than ever. That brought so much joy to me, because using your left hand or the left Joy-Con, which on the Wii would be the nunchuck, using that, whipping it out at the screen, emulating Samus's own left hand, and pulling things away, ripping enemy shields away with motion feels so good. Oh, boo-hoo, you have to flick your wrist. Shut up. Shut up. I love that. And the spring ball, all you have to do, if you want to use motion, just flick your right Joy-Con up, and that's it. So I think it works really well. The Galactic Federation Troopers. Lots of people have been crying to their heart's content about this. I feel like this game is Metroid's Skyward Sword, or Nintendo's Last of Us Part 2 moment. There are some aspects of this game that'll either make the game for you or absolutely destroy the game for you. And that's the case with the Galactic Federation Troopers. I think they're pretty good additions to the Metroid universe. Miles McKenzie is not nearly annoying as everyone is saying. Everyone is saying he's so annoying. He won't shut up. But when I was playing, I was with Miles. His primary section of the game probably lasted like 10-15 minutes. And I turned off subtitles because I usually don't play games with subtitles. I think it's a little bit distracting for me. So whenever he was yapping, like 50% of the time in the background, I wasn't even processing what he was saying. And like his jokes aren't even that terrible. I mean, I found some jokes to be a little funny. There's one moment where he was like walking down this bridge and then he accidentally fell. I thought that gave me a little chuckle because it's like, wow, that's some weird attention to detail that they didn't have to do for an NPC. So I think the hate is way overblown. There's games like Resident Evil 4 with Ashley. Leon, help! Like, she's annoying, and that game is one of the greatest games of all time. So I think the hate for Miles is so overblown. Like, guys, Ashley's right there, and people love Ashley. There's other troopers. It's sort of this ragtag team of survivors. I mean, one of them is a sniper. He's pretty cool, chillaxed. He's nonchalant. There's another one who's a sergeant. He's pretty cool. He's the kind of trooper that I'd like to have around my back. And then there's a trooper named Armstrong who she is a huge fangirl of Samus. I'll admit some dialogue was a little bit cringy, but there's other dialogue where it's like, that's kind of funny, or that's kind of endearing. It's like, I have friends that say stupid shit all the time, and I tolerate it. Like, why? It's not the craziest thing in the world for someone to say something a little cringy, like fangirling about basically a superhero in this space universe. It's not the craziest idea. Again, I think people are overblowing this situation. I think they're great additions, and they expand the lore of Metroid. It's like, why can Hollow Knight or Ori, why can they have NPCs that talk to the main character, albeit they talk way less, but why can they have NPCs and actual living people, but Samus can never talk to anyone. Samus has to be all alone on a dead dying planet. Like, I feel like that mentality is a little, it'll only stagnate the Metroid series, in my opinion, if Samus is always alone, always on a dead dying planet, always saving a dying race. Like, I feel like be a little bit more open-minded with all the new additions. There's one big flaw that I believe that I won't give as much slack to in terms of the Federation soldiers, and that is Soul Valley and an extension of Viola. So the Viola motorcycle is actually really fun to control. It controls super well. The sound effects sound amazing. The problem is Soul Valley. Soul Valley, yeah, it is very empty. It is very, very dead. There is music, but it's very ambient. It does give the sense of isolation and death in this area. Like, if you just stand still, you can just really take in, wow, this is a dying world that you need to save. There is nothing but death and carnage here, with grievers popping out of the ground, basically like zombies. So I do get that sense, but also it's like, wow, visually this looks so boring, because all the areas in the game, like Volt Forge or the Ice Belt. Those are some of the most visually impressive areas in any video game I've ever seen. The flare pool, they all look so great. And then you get to the desert. It's like it came from another game. It looks like Game Freak developed this portion of Beyond. It's like, what happened here? So yeah, it's a little concerning. There's a bunch of green crystals that I will implore you, collect them all. If you see a green crystal, take some time to destroy it. The desert is empty. There are shrines. Literally, they're called shrines. Though, whereas the wild era of Zelda may suffer from too many shrines, I don't agree with that. I think Beyond suffers from too little shrines. There's not too much to do. There's some wreckage. There's some wrecks from Galactic Federation troopers scattered about Soul Valley, but there's some green crystals and some shrines, and that's kind of it. I will say, it is fun to drive around in. I will drive around breaking green crystals, finding some shrines. At most, I'll be in the valley for like 10 to 15 minutes, and then I'm off to the next area. So it's like a mini intermission, so I don't mind it that much. It's not game breaking to me. It's not a scar to me. Some people will think it's a scar, and I'll agree with them. I can understand where they're coming from. It's not a scar, it's more like a bruise to me. Definitely the biggest flaw of this game. I am 8 hours in the game. This has still been one of the most fun experiences, most immersive experiences I've ever had. I find myself just being so immersed when like Samus screams in pain. I make like an audible grunt. I'm like furrowing my brow when defeating bosses, gritting my teeth, and also the bosses are magnificent. This game is really great. It's really good. It has its flaws. So that's my 2 cents.
So how do you think it compares with the first 3 games in the trilogy? Like from so far what you've played?
I've played all the games in the trilogy. I haven't played Echoes as much. That is my least played game of the trilogy, but I mean, I can understand its strengths.
Don't tell Pat Nat that.
I just watched a video on Echoes, and yeah, Echoes is really great. I just need to get in the mindset to play Echoes, because Echoes is depressing and tough.
Yeah, I know it's a much darker game than the first one, right?
Yeah.
I haven't played Echoes, but because I posted about that. I think Pat Nat posted something on Blue Sky. I replied. He was like, "Dude, you gotta play Echoes." So.
Echoes makes me depressed and sad, and I just want to curl up in a ball and cry. Like, when you enter the dark world, you are literally suffocating at every second. You are losing health every second unless you get into a light bubble. So it's challenging. But I could speak more so for Metroid Prime Remastered and Metroid Prime 3 Corruption. The combat is really great. This is the best combat in the series because Samus moves a lot quicker with her ability to dash back and forth now. The enemies feel more closer to Corruption, and I think the action in Corruption is much better. So beyond being an improvement over Corruption is great to see. Over Prime Remastered, I think the combat is way, way better than Prime Remastered. Some people will think, for the case of Metroid Prime 1, it's just lock on, press A. And I mean, sometimes they're right. So I think the innovations made with the pointer and the Wii remote for Metroid Prime 3 Corruption greatly benefits in terms of combat, because now you have to consciously aim at weak points around enemies instead of locking on and just pressing A. So Metroid Prime 4 Beyond's combat is really fun. Level design, I've been seeing a lot of people saying it's a lot of linear hallways, but like the entire trilogy is linear hallways. Maybe some games like Corruption are more linear than others, but these Prime games really are just a collection of different hallways webbed together. Are they very linear? I think some sequences are scripted to be linear. I don't see that as much of a problem because backtracking is still a big thing in this game. That includes Soul Valley, but I've already talked about that. But backtracking feels really great because you know that feeling in Metroidvanias where you're going back into an area that you once sucked balls in and now you're just defeating enemies with one shot. It feels great in this game.
It is. I remember that was like my favorite part of Metroid Prime Remastered.
Yeah,
it was like,
it feels great.
Yeah, it was like once you unlock all of Samus's like abilities and you go back to like Chozo Ruins, for example, and you're just mowing down everything. Yeah, it feels so good.
And the environments, I think these are some of the best environments in the trilogy. We got Volt Forge. That was so cool. It's a giant factory. Ice Belt is so mysterious until you turn on the power, where everything basically just comes to life, and that includes the dead. Flare Pool. At first, I'm like, it's not as great, but then at the end, they had a whole really cool sequence. I'm like, oh wait, no, this game is awesome. So I think it lives up to the series standards. Music is great. My favorite soundtrack of the trilogy is Corruption. So far, the live orchestrated music and their use of electric guitars is really cool. Again, with Soul Valley, I don't know why they don't play the viola track in the desert. They just have dead ambient music. And also there's a whole controversy with the radio and amiibo, which I believe you can get the radio early with the amiibo, but you can also unlock it after beating the game, which is a weird design decision. I don't know why. I guess another case of Miles McKenzie, where he will sometimes give you hints on where to go. He's a little bit annoying, but it's nothing egregious. In Dread, you had AI Adam, and in Corruption, you had the Aurora unit, which is also an AI. I'd much rather have an actual human being telling me where to go than an AI of my dead mentor figure or a pickled brain. So there's one moment where Mackenzie actually gave me helpful information where he probably saved me like 30 minutes of my life. So I'm like, you know what? Good for you, Mackenzie. You're actually a pretty solid addition to the team. I guess overall, Beyond it's not perfect. There's some flaws that will make or break the experience to you, to whatever you desire most in a Metroid game. Maybe this game will deliver, and maybe this game will absolutely flounder for you. But for me, I'm loving my time with the game. It's a solid 9. At first, I'm like, this is a 10 out of 10 game. Now I'm thinking, you know what? At best, it's like a 9. At its worst, probably an 8. But like, 8's nothing to scoff at.
I like how you managed to talk for like 18 minutes about that, all from not even finishing the game. You're like halfway.
Yeah,
so. I'm excited to hear what notes. I'm excited to hear what your like closing thoughts are next week.
Yeah, I've heard some things about the ending, so we'll see how it wraps up.
So this next topic is what I have been waiting for. I am so excited to talk about this one. So IGN a few weeks ago put out their list of the top 100 Nintendo games, and I was like, we have to talk about this on the podcast. Like,
they've also teamed up with their friends at Nintendo Life. That is a quote from them. Yeah, we'll take some turns. I know you have a list ready. I'm looking through their list right now. Yeah. I could probably bring up some things, but why don't you get us started? We'll go from 100 all the way down to number 1.
Okay, well, no, we're not going through every single Donovan. That would literally take us 5
not every
hours.
Single one, but
the first placement on the list that I found particularly interesting was 98, where they put the original Star Fox. If we're going off of influence, I guess I could see this being top 100. The game itself is like incredibly frustrating to play. I already made a video about it on my channel. I think it has not aged well whatsoever. Despite, once again, certainly it is an incredibly important game for the transition into the third dimension. It utilized the Super FX chip. It's just playing this game is miserable, and not, no, like, I'm not even like trying to be funny. Like, it sucks. Like, and that's me putting it mildly. And this is not even necessarily in the same way as like the Legend of Zelda, because the original Legend of Zelda hasn't aged particularly well, but I think that deserves a place on the list, which it is on the list. I forgot where it is, because that's not one of the ones I noted, but Star Fox, no, especially because like, Star Fox 64 is the Star Fox game that should be on the list, and that is on the list, but I guess the original Star Fox being a 98, at least that's like towards the bottom, so whatever. Number 89, we had Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. This is particularly crazy because it's above Kirby Planet Robobot, it's above Diddy Kong Racing, and in Eternal Darkness. All three of those games are probably better than Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, but, you know, Captain Toad Treasure Tracker is, I mean, it's cute for what it is. Number 83, we had Ring Fit Adventure above all of those games I just mentioned, which is just crazy.
Yeah, I was about to say, Fire Emblem Three Houses, I really love that game. 95, and yeah, you said Ring Fit Adventure at 83. Now, Ring Fit Adventure, I've heard lots of great things, but over all those games that you just mentioned,
it's not it is not a top 100 Nintendo game. Like I like Ring Fit Adventure. Like I think it's a cute little exercise game. Top 100, especially above those games I just listed, no. Number 78, this is way too low. Donkey Kong Country 2. Donkey Kong Country 2 should be like top 40. Like that's like one of the greatest 2D platformers of all time. It has aged incredibly well to this day. Possibly still my favorite Donkey Kong Country game, to be honest. Like it's still up there. And then after, wait, sorry, go on.
I'm wondering why Secret of Mana is here. Now, Secret of Mana is really good, but like that's not a Nintendo game.
Donovan, we got more of those coming. Don't worry.
What is Ogre Battle 64 and number 75? What the fuck is that?
I wonder. I was gonna say maybe their definition of Nintendo game is games that are on like exclusive to a Nintendo platform. But there's one particular game that I noted. We'll get to it in a minute. That is definitely not exclusive to Nintendo platformers or to Nintendo platforms. So number 77, Super Mario Sunshine. I mean, I guess. Sure. I really don't think Super Mario Sunshine is held up that well, to be honest. But I mean, I get why people like it. So
I think the vibes, the controls, and
the controls are not. The controls are not.
I think Mario moves very fluidly in Sunshine.
I would. Okay.
I think he moves so much better than like 64, and you just get a lot more control with him than in like Galaxy, and then Odyssey is like Odyssey's way better than that.
I think the movement of both Sunshine and 64 have not held up that well, but Sunshine is like it's especially finicky to me, especially the camera. There's a lot of levels in Sunshine. Like Pinna Park. I've had a lot of questionable moments on Rico Harbor, and Noki Bay. So. I mean, once again, Super Mario Sunshine is not the craziest pick, and 77 is not like an offensive placement. Oh, I skipped right over that. Wave Race 64.
What the
above Donkey Kong Country 2?
I'm looking at the one right below it. It's Donkey Kong Arcade.
Okay. Yeah, it's important. You know what? I mean, Donkey Kong Arcade is the backbone of Nintendo as a company, as a gaming company. So I can understand that. I think that that's too high.
I think purely because of its iconic nature and its influence, they put it really high above a lot of
I would say
games that I think
Donkey Kong Arcade. It should not be above. It should not be above like 85. Like it should be at the bottom. That's just my opinion. Next one I had was 56. We have Super Mario Party Jamboree. No. What? No, top 100 Nintendo games? Jamboree?
They put it over Twilight Princess.
No, it's
I'm
not
looking at the list.
Twilight Princess was another funny one. Jamboree is not even the best Mario Party game.
I think Jamboree is a really great Mario Party game. I just think this placement is a little too high.
It's a good game. It's like, once again, top 100 Nintendo games. It's like, I mean, I think Mario Party DS is better. I would argue that Mario Party 2 on the N64 is better. I would argue that...
Right below it at number 57 is Splatoon 3. I think that's a way more ambitious, in-depth multiplayer game than Jamboree, honestly.
I would agree. I mean, they are very different games because Splatoon is innately more competitive than Mario Party, but it's just like... I feel like if we're going with Mario Party on the list, Jamboree's not the one I would go with. To me, this is a little bit of recency bias, which there are some other games on this list that have massive recency bias. Once again, no, that's not like the most offensive ranking. I feel like we're going to be pissing off so many people with this segment. Yeah. I'm so excited. Number 49, Luigi's Mansion 3. Number 49? 49.
I mean, I let me look further down the list and we'll evaluate if
Wait, Donovan, can you do me a favor? Can you Control F Luigi's Mansion and tell me if the first one is on the list and if Dark Moon is on the list? Because that will determine my viewpoint on Luigi's Mansion 3.
Let me see, Mansion.
I probably should have looked that up before. But
wow, really?
Is 3 the only?
It's only 3.
Okay, so no, that's absurd. That is absurd. No. the original Luigi's Mansion should be on here. And low key, I'm coming around on Dark Moon. Like Luigi's Mansion 3 might be my least favorite in this series.
Luigi's Mansion 3 is definitely my favorite.
I mean, I know we talked about this before on the podcast, but like, give me your elevator pitch for why 3 is the one that should be on this list and not either of the first two.
I do think the first one should be on the list, but 3 over 2, 3 has a much more cohesive manner of exploration and level design, especially with backtracking. It's much more cohesive than 2. I love the setting of it. The boss fights are really great too. They're probably the best in the series. 2's boss fights are 1's boss fights are fine. Co-op also works really well in this game, though if you're playing in single player, it could feel a little bit clunky. Collecting things in 3 feels amazing, though I can understand the argument that you're collecting for nothing. I think 3 is just a very cohesive game.
I will concede that I need to replay 3. So, you know what? At some point I'll replay it and then we'll revisit this on the podcast. I'll be like, okay, you know, maybe Luigi's Mansion 3 deserves. But not having the original is crazy. Like that actually is absurd. Mm-hmm. Number 46, this is absurd. F-Zero X. And this is funny because I just made a video about F-Zero X. And this is above GX for context. What the fuck?
But why?
Like, what?
Who is smoking? What are you smoking?
I actually like F-Zero X. Like, I think it's a fun game. I definitely have issues with it. I think that some of the track design is pretty bad. And the graphics, although it's not as atrocious because of how good the frame rate and the amount of racers is, it looks noticeably bad, even for the N64. But what is GX doing below? I mean, I don't even think F-Zero X should be top 50, like by itself. Like, if it's going to be on the list, maybe like 100 to 85, maybe.
Wait, let me see.
If GX is it below it?
Is regular just F-Zero here? Yeah, F-Zero GX, F-Zero X.
I love your keyboard just clacking.
There's no original F-Zero. Interesting.
Yeah, I feel like the original F-Zero should be on here instead of X. Like, yeah. I mean, both in terms of influence, but also like the original F-Zero has actually held up relatively well compared to other racing games from that time period. So yeah, 1, X should not be top 50, and 2, it should not be above GX. Number 42 is another case of recency bias. We have Mario Kart World at 42. I mean, I'm already kind of against the idea of putting a game from 2025 this high up, but Mario Kart World is like, no. I mean,
hey, I'm not saying Mario Kart World's a bad game. I do think
I'm not saying it's a
lot of great things.
Donovan, we are in the top 50 of the top 50 Nintendo games of all time. I'm not saying it's a bad game, but 42?
Maybe like more so in the 80s, I'd put it. No, 60s.
The game just came out. Like, I don't know. I feel like we need to marinate like our thoughts on some of these games before just launching it to the top of the list. But like with Mario Kart World, I still am leaning towards 8 Deluxe, Wii, and call me crazy, maybe Double Dash and DS. Like, honestly, I think Mario Kart World it's a good game. Like, I'm not trying to like be like this game sucks and I'm going to make a 2-hour long grifting video essay about why Mario Kart World is soulless. I am not saying that at all. 42 in the greatest Nintendo games. No. Number 38, we have Super Mario RPG. I think also in comparison with where some of the other Mario RPG games landed on the list, I think that this is maybe a tad bit high. But I think this is a better placement than like Superstar Saga, in my opinion. Have you ever played Mario RPG?
I've played a little bit of it.
Yeah, I mean, thankfully they went with the original and not the remake. I do think the original is the better version. even without like the quality of life fixes, just because the difficulty is so much better in the original. I don't know. Maybe this one isn't. That's not necessarily a bad placement.
I see in number 43, they put Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and just above that, they put Mario Kart World, and then the original Zelda.
I also think that Super Mario Bros. Wonder, I would put that more in like the 60s, maybe. I think that's a little bit high.
Really?
Especially, I've kind of been a proponent that Wonder is good for what it is, and it's an incredibly important part of 2D Mario, revitalizing the series after years of staleness that was culminating from New Super Mario Bros. And some of the other like spin-off games as well. So in terms of creativity, Wonder is brilliant. However, I'm just still feel less compelled to come back to it compared to most 2D Mario games. So that's just my take on it. But also, you said Legend of Zelda. That's too high.
Original Legend of Zelda.
That is too high. Legend of Zelda deserves to be on the list on the merit of influence alone. Like, it cannot be overstated how important of a game that was whenever it came out in I think it was 1986. But it should be like in the 80s or 70s. Like, that's too high. Then this next one is the main one I was bringing up with recency bias, though. Donkey Kong Bonanza at 22.
That is very high. Hey, they put Pikmin 4 at number 30. I agree with that.
Well, I haven't played Pikmin 4, so I can't comment. But
they put Xenoblade Chronicles at 28. And then we move on down. They put Majora's Mask. They put it above Galaxy.
Oh, I didn't even pick up
Galaxy
on that. Galaxy
is number 23. Donkey Kong Bonanza is number 22. Thoughts?
That is way too high. Like,
above all those other games.
And this is not discrediting Bonanza. We've yapped on this podcast before about how much we love Bonanza. It came out in July? Like, the game just came out. Like, we need, like, this is why I hate it whenever, not even with gaming, but just in general, whenever we make these of all time lists. I remember whenever Apple Music did their top 100 albums of all time list, and they put, there were some albums that like had just come out that were like in the top 50. And I'm like, guys, we need to marinate with these games. You know what I mean? Like, we gotta, like, I feel like there should be a threshold of like, if a game just came out, if you're going to be bold and put it on the list, you've got to acknowledge that it just came out and put it a little bit lower. You know what I mean? Like, you got to let it age into lists like this. That's just my opinion, though. So I'm not saying Bonanza doesn't deserve to be a top 100 Nintendo game. I think it does. 22, though, I think we should rate a little bit.
22
above Galaxy.
You're talking about like, you just need to let it marinate much more, and I do agree.
Yeah, I'm not saying it doesn't have the potential. It could become 22.
It does have the potential of 22. On the topic of like letting it sit for a while, I mean, Donkey Kong Bonanza is a complete game. We know all of its stuff. There's no future DLC. Maybe there's no like future things to evaluate. I mean,
I think a better way to look at this is, let's just say we made the top Nintendo games back in 2002. You would be considered crazy to put Wind Waker or Luigi's Mansion in that list. But nowadays, with hindsight. Yeah, with hindsight, people respect those games so much more than they did whenever they came out. And obviously that's the opposite situation as like Bonanza. But, you know, people's perspectives on games changes over time, and recency bias is a very real thing. That's why I just personally am very cautious about, as soon as the game comes out, being like, this is the greatest thing of all time. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like whenever people are like, Bonanza is the greatest 3D platformer Nintendo has ever made. I'm like, all right, let's slow down. Like, let's, you know, like, and also above Galaxy is crazy. Like, no. I only have 3 more noted down. I don't know if you have any more that you wanted to bring up, but
I'm scrolling through the list. Resident Evil 4 is not a Nintendo game.
That is what I was going to say. So at number 20 is Resident Evil 4. That is not even, not a Nintendo game, but it isn't even exclusive to, like, I think it originally came out on the GameCube and then it had a Wii version. But, like, that is not a Nintendo game at all. Like, any way you slice it. It deserves, like, if it was a Nintendo game, it would be one of the greatest ones of all time. Resident Evil 4 is a masterpiece. I could talk about how perfect the difficulty of that game is, how beautiful, like, the gameplay loop, and how, despite them shifting the genre of the series from survival horror to, like, more action focus, it's still perfectly encapsulated.
Do you like Ashley?
Huh?
Do you like Ashley? Are you fine with her, like, screaming, or her dying.
Donovan,
okay, you'll be fine with the Galactic Federation troopers. I'm just saying, guys. Anyways,
I don't know. I just think Resident Evil 4. It's an amazing game, but it's not Nintendo. Like what are we doing? Yes, at number 1 on my list of the top 100 Nintendo games, I have God of War. All right, so at number 17 is Animal Crossing: New Horizons. No, the original Animal Crossing. Both the original and New Leaf are still better. Sorry. And then at number 1, we're just gonna, because I feel like from 16. Wait. Oh, sorry.
What time are we at? Oh, we're at 50. Oh shit. What do we got? At number 19, there's Final Fantasy VI. That is not a Nintendo game.
That is definitely not Nintendo.
Fire Emblem Awakening at number 18. Damn. Good job, Fire Emblem. Damn. 18? Jesus. We got Wind Waker at 60. I'm looking through the list. Pokemon. Mario Galaxy 2 is above Galaxy 1 at number 14 by a good margin.
I don't know if it should be above it by a good margin, but I mean, I can respect it. I still lean towards Galaxy 1, but like I'm not going to get mad if you say Galaxy 2 is better.
Yeah, we've already talked about this.
Yeah.
Number 13, Metroid Prime.
Yeah,
I agree. I think this is the only mention of Metroid Prime. They didn't put any of the other games in the trilogy. I did see Metroid Dread and Metroid Zero Mission on this list.
Dread was pretty low, by the way, especially compared to some of those other games that were above it.
They didn't put original Metroid, but they put original Donkey Kong, original Zelda.
To be fair, though, they put Zero Mission, which Zero Mission is the remake of.
Yeah, much better.
And it's better. And it's better in every way. So I can understand them not including the original.
Mario Bros. 3 at number 12. Ultimate at number 11. Interesting.
Yeah. You're the Smash Bros. Person here. What are your thoughts on that?
This is one of the most influential Nintendo games of all time. Like, you mentioned Nintendo, people are gonna ask, or you mentioned the Switch, people are gonna ask, yo, you got Mario Kart, yo, you got Smash. Smash is always a key word there, and that in turn is Ultimate. This is a humongous game in terms of not just the content inside it, but also in cultural impact. This game was massive, and in some ways still is massive today. People are still wondering, is Ultimate going to get a Nintendo Switch 2 edition, or are we going to ever get a sequel, or does it even need a sequel? Where do we go from here? So at number 11, I
personally, I'm not upset about it. The amount, like, whenever people think of the Nintendo Switch, aside from Mario Kart, Ultimate is what they think of. The amount of times whenever I'm hanging out with friends and they're just like, yo, I'm bored, do you want to play Smash Bros? And we all have fun. Like, people could argue all day about what the best Smash Bros game is, but like, I mean, there's no denying that Ultimate is like the perfect game for acclimating people to that whole genre and introducing them to a world of characters and games that they otherwise would probably be unfamiliar with. So, you know what? I'm not upset about that.
Number 10, they got, 10, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Yeah.
Fair.
All right, I'll accept it, yeah. I still think that's the best Mario Kart game. So.
I agree. The Legend of Zelda and Link to the Past.
Yep.
Number 8, Super Metroid. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I didn't really note many of the top 10 because I think that these are all pretty uncontroversial for the most part. So
7, Chrono Trigger. It's an SNES game. It's an exclusive SNES game, but like it suffers from Resident Evil 4 syndrome, where it was exclusive, but now it's everywhere. So
well, and here's the thing about this list too, is it's like I feel like some of these games like Chrono Trigger, I can understand them being on the list, but whatever you're putting in the top 10, it's like it isn't a Nintendo game at heart. So I feel like you should be weighting this list more towards like Nintendo games. You know what I mean? Like Chrono Trigger is a Square game. It's great. Don't get me wrong. Chrono Trigger, godfather of RPGs. You know what I mean? Like it's incredibly influential and impactful. It's just once again, like I can see it on the list more than Resident Evil 4 because at least it was originally a Super Nintendo game. But, I feel like the other games in the top 10 embody Nintendo as a company more because they actually were made by Nintendo.
Mm-hmm. Number 6, Ocarina of Time. Number 5, Tetris. Interesting.
Okay, are we
above Ocarina of Time?
Wait, are we counting? Is Tetris a Nintendo game?
Tetris was originally, it wasn't made for the Game Boy. but it got its large popularity from the Game Boy. This is a no situation.
All right, I mean, I'll let it slide. But at number 5,
Tetris, really? Tetris is great.
I mean,
sure.
No, it is. But like, whenever I'm stuck on this one because it's like Tetris has aged well. It is like the puzzle game. You know what I mean? It's endlessly replayable. Incredibly iconic. The theme song, one of my favorite pieces of any gaming soundtrack of all time. Incredibly memorable. But number 5, like
Interesting. Maybe the unks put that in.
You know what?
Number
Okay,
4.
I won't get mad at it. I'll accept.
Number 4, Super Mario Odyssey.
Oh, if we're gonna get people upset with that one,
I mean, I could see it.
I'm not saying I'm mad. I'm just saying there's a lot of people that are like Odyssey is slop.
Odyssey is slop. All right, number 3, Super Mario World. Me personally, I like Mario Brothers 3.
No, I still prefer World over 3. Okay, considering influence as well, I will allow it to be number 3. I'm okay.
Number 2, Breath of the Wild. I can see that.
Yeah, well, I noted down Tears of the Kingdom because I do think it's
number 1, Tears of the Kingdom. Let's go, baby! No, I'm just kidding.
Better than Breath of the Wild. Okay, once again, let me note that I've not actually
you have not played the game.
I do not have stake in this argument, but I'm a big Breath of the Wild guy, Donovan. It's going to take a lot to convince me that is better and more influential than the game that is the reason for its existence.
I think Tears of the Kingdom makes Breath of the Wild look like a tech demo. This is the most full and one of the most full and realized open worlds ever created.
Which is crazy because it is it's crazy because it is the sequel to one of the most ambitious open world games.
So it's kind of cheating in the way that it's building on top of what someone did previously, but in combination with what came before and what it brings to the table, I think it blows Breath of the Wild out of the water. And in terms of its multiplicative gameplay with Ultra Hand, Fuse, Ascend, and in some cases, Time, it's one of the most impressive ways to make player expression so fun in a video game. And sure, it reuses the same world, but I think it does a lot. Maybe it could have done more, but it does a lot to build off of what came. I will say, I've said this a million times, the story of Tears of the Kingdom is a little bit inferior to Breath of the Wild. It doesn't break the experience.
Don't tell Ivan I'll be that. Don't tell Ivan that.
But there's a lot to love in Tears of the Kingdom. Tears of the Kingdom is a love or hate game.
But
I'm in the love camp.
Donovan, that's the thing though, is in my personal opinion, if we're crowning a game as the Nintendo game, the greatest Nintendo game of all time, influence-wise, ambition-wise, both how it holds up as a game today, all of that considering, it can't be a game that is so divisive. Like we literally have an entire culture of people arguing that Zelda needs to go away from what Tears of the Kingdom represents. So, greatest Nintendo game just on that front, I don't know. I could see Breath of the Wild because it was the first one that treaded into that ground.
Yeah, this is a tricky situation. It's like, do you go off of the game that you think is a better overall game? Or do you go with the predecessor, which created all these mechanics and worlds in the first place?
I would say it also depends on the quality of the predecessor. The predecessor in question is like near perfect. Like Breath of the Wild is already an immaculate game. Once again, I have not really played Tears of the Kingdom. Like I've played it a little bit. I've not beaten it. So I'm not here to compare how Tears of the Kingdom is like objectively to Breath of the Wild. All I'm saying is, in my opinion, Breath of the Wild walked so Tears of the Kingdom could run, and it still has held up incredibly. It is the reason why people are tired of open world games. So if you want to say that Breath of the Wild ruined the gaming industry and ruined Nintendo, you can say that, and you could argue that it shouldn't be number 1 for that reason. But I mean, if I was making my top 100 Nintendo game list, Breath of the Wild would probably end up at my number one spot, to be honest. But you know, I mean, you did kind of argue a good point for Tears of the Kingdom, though. It's like Tears of the Kingdom did notably expand upon the scope that Breath of the Wild brought us. I mean, there essentially is there's like they basically doubled the world size with
I'll just briefly talk about this. It's like the sequel to Breath of the Wild taking place in the same world of Hyrule. It's like, okay, where else would you want the sequel to Breath of the Wild take place? Like, oh, guys, newsflash, The Dark Knight takes place in Gotham again. Oh my gosh, unwatchable. It's the same thing over again. It's like, okay, well, where else would you have the sequel to Breath of the Wild? And it has to be Hyrule, but then you have to judge it on how much did they change it. And for some people will say it's not enough change. In my opinion, I can see the evolution of time from
Donovan,
Breath of the Wild.
That was I can't even agree with that example because I'm not even convinced that The Dark Knight takes place in Gotham. Like that was, in my opinion, that was just Chicago. That was that was not Gotham. That was just a city in America.
if we want to get
I
off
understand.
topic.
I get your yeah. I get your point. Yeah. So we'll let people get pissed off at us about that. Yeah, that was that got so gnarly by the end. So questions? You want to go into questions really quick? So once again, as always, if you have any questions that you want to ask us, you can join the Special Hour Discord server where we have a special text channel called Ask the Host, where you are able to ask us anything you want. Could be gaming related or not. You'll see by today's questions, most of these are definitely not gaming related. So, Donovan, do you want to start off with the gaming question or we'll save that for last, actually?
Save that for last. I need to think about that one.
Question from Rachel. Is a hot dog a sandwich? We're getting philosophical again this week. I've always been inclined to say that, yes, I do believe a hot dog is a sandwich.
Yeah, I say so as well. Because I can't think right now. I mean, just take out the hot dog, put in like some sandwich contents. Yeah, it's basically a sandwich. And then you put in the hot dog. Oh no, it's a different thing. I don't think that. I think it's a sandwich.
Yeah, I also think it doesn't fucking matter either way, but
I could have said that way more elegantly, but
okay, finally we are ending with a thought-provoking question. I think we've answered something similar to this in the past. Kinley asks, what video games do you despise? My answer to this kind of shifts around. Right now, I would say my most hated game is Mario Kart 64.
Mario Party 4. I hate that game.
I'm pretty sure this was exactly what you said last time.
Yeah, so deja vu. You can't change my opinion, unknown. I am never playing that game again.
Yeah, my reason for Mario Kart 64, I was about to say Mario Karty 64. Mario Kart 64 is because it has not aged well, but unlike like Super Mario Kart, I can at least respect it for its influence in the fact that it was the first Mario Kart game. Mario Kart 64 in some ways is honestly even more frustrating to come back to. Like if I could redo my Mario Kart game ranking, I would put Mario Kart 64 at the bottom. I just don't enjoy that game in the slightest. I remember whenever I had to re-record footage, it was miserable. I hated every second of it. I do in fact despise that game. It's very similar to how I feel about Star Fox on the Super Nintendo. Both of those games I loathe with a burning passion. I have a lot of resentment and vitriol that I hold towards those games. A lot of malice.
It's like they killed your family.
Well, metaphorically, honestly, they're not far away. Like those games, like I have a vendetta. Like Mario Kart 64. I mean, it has battle mode, but like controlling that game, man, like and the tracks are so long, and like just like Okay. Anyway, that was the special hour number 24. So I apologize if we offended anyone with our review of the top Nintendo games. And if Donovan actually enjoying Metroid Prime 4 upset anyone, I know.
Oh yeah, the hate mob is coming.
Yeah, I don't think you're supposed to like it, Donovan. I think
Yeah, my fault.
Yeah, it's against.
I'm pretty sure it's
internet law.
AAA slop, and Nintendo is cooked.
It's
And
soulless.
it's woke. It is woke because there's people talking, and one of them's a woman or something like that.
Well, yeah, Donovan. It's woke because the main character is a woman.
It's a woman.
And,
oh my god.
Yeah,
They fell off.
If there's anything we've learned, it's that anything that has any character in it that is not a straight white male is bad. Like it's woke, it's slop. It's
Ghost
the
of
reason
Yote
why
is woke and bad.
it's the reason why I can't play Celeste. Celeste is woke because it's about mental health, Donovan. That's woke. Men don't cry, Donovan.
How dare you? The Witcher 4 is going to be woke because the main character's a woman, even though she was in the previous game. But anyways, where can we find you on the internet, Mr. D?
What's up? So if you enjoyed anything I had to say or me as a person, which if you did, thank you. Like that means a lot. I appreciate it. I am MrDean44. I just said that. I am MrDean44. I just said that again. You can find me on YouTube. I upload Nintendo reviews, retrospectives, rankings, all that fun stuff. And then sometimes I dabble into other stuff like PlayStation or indie games. You can also find me on Blue Sky and Twitter. I'm posting a little bit more often on both of those. So if you want to hear some of my inner thoughts, you can follow me on there if you want. And then also I have a Discord server called the Dean Kingdom. Just your typical Discord shenanigans. Donovan, where can the people find you on the internet?
Find me DonovanDud on YouTube, where if you did not like my opinions, you can come at my house with pitchforks, where I talk about woke video games. I'm also on Twitter and Instagram, and I'm also in Discord, the Nintendo Boys server that was all out of whack. Bye.
Bye.